to help us understand how we get to a point together where we can look up to our town leadership and feel like we can trust you again. Thanks.
Next. No? Different issue? Same issue? Different this issue.
I'm going to talk about the policing aspect of things because I'm on the front lines of this. All right. When we got our new police chief, approximately 2.5, 3 years ago, we had police officers that have been in this department for decades and many, many years. And since we've gotten this chief, there's been a exit strategy by the officers that were here when he got here. We have one officer left, and on the 22nd of April, this officer is no longer here. So either the 4 or 5 officers that were here are not right, or the guy that came here is not right. Now, I work at Lindy's, I've been there 9 years. The frontline guys that are the police officers, they're good guys. They're just doing their jobs. I brought a few things to their attention regarding like chasing cars around at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and flying out and pulling up on them. And the chief said he'd look into it. Well, it's happened a couple more times since they looked into it. So I'll give you an example of some things that happened to me. Last month at the meeting, I was here, I asked it a couple pointed questions, and the next day the chief and Greg Twillmeyer are out there measuring the blocks that are by my right-of-way, that have been there for a year, year and a half, and all of a sudden magically I have to move the blocks.
Sounds familiar.
It's like overreaching, like not tyrannical, but we're getting close to tyrannical type of police behavior. And I don't have a personal axe to grant the chief. I just wish that he would govern the way this small community should be governed. We're not Milwaukee. We don't have gangbangers. We don't have a lot of drive-bys out here. Down there, maybe that's an appropriate form of policing. But here, that's not an appropriate form of policing. This is a small, tight-knit community where everyone knows everybody, and we can police ourselves. If we have a problem, somebody will say something, we'll get rid of the problem. But I just think the way it's going is not right, and I'm not happy about it.
I do have to say one thing about that, John. There was a complaint that was issued from that Steve Lambrex, and then also the ladies whose property those blocks were on. I went out and looked at it, and they were the right-of-way issue we talked about, and the other issue is...
Right, but the right-of-way got magically changed because my neighbor's right-of-way is 24 feet in some inches. My other neighbor on the other side of me is 24 feet in some inches. But my right-of-way jumps to 33 feet. So for whatever reason, maybe it was an error in the last guy that did a survey near there, but I'm going to get to the bottom of it. But I'm just saying, it's the overreaching aggression. And if it was across the board that way for everybody, I can live with it. But it's called selective enforcement. And selective enforcement borders on fascism. So we're living under a fascist type of policing. Not full-blown fascism, but we got selective fascism around here. I'm just all I'm saying. Let's even it out.
But you know it was a complaint. You know that.
Yeah. Speaking of the complaint, I did an open records request to the chief, and I asked him if he could provide me with the name of the person that complained. And he wrote me back within 3 or 4 days and said, I'm in receipt of your open records request on the complaint about the blocks on your right-of-way, but that's been like a month and I haven't seen my response to my request. So I still haven't got my answer back.
He's way too busy.
All right, public comments? Any more public comments? And as you heard from Mr. Mills here, personnel issues can only be discussed in closed session, and it is a union contract type deal, period. So there will be no discussion on that. However, again, the number of people here, if anybody has their, want to say something about this, come on up.
I don't need to. W1137, Buell Lane, Steve Reisinger. So after Craig leaves, are we able to find out why he left?
Good question. Took a new job.
No. Why he? Yeah. Come on.
Oh, wow.
Why he resigned? What are the issues with
If there's nothing
the
to
town?
hide, what's the problem?
Yeah. Can we hold? Can we ask for an open records request?
It wouldn't be under open records request, but if Craig wishes to share
Oh, okay.
his opinion, he can.
Okay. All right.
It's an opinion, though.
All right. Thank
I
you.
don't
That was
know what his
it. No,
opinion
no.
is going to be.
That's. Thank you.
It always comes out, it won't matter.
All right,
It will, it always comes out.
anyone else? I see a phone up in the other recorder.
Yep.
Recording, okay. That's not it. All right, last call for public comments, and again, the only person that can have public comment after this session here, John will have to speak when the chief has the report. Yes,
Sorry.
Oh, that's right. I want to speak about it would be under the police report, a traffic concern on Old School Road.
Yep.
I guess my concern is that now we've lowered the speed limit on Hilburn Mill and Stone School Road. The section I'm talking about connects the dots, the 3/4 of a mile of Old School Road.
Speak up!
Which is dually, it's only 18-foot wide at max. If you want to bring it up to standards, then keep the speed limit the way it is, otherwise I would ask that you lower the speed limit. Thanks.
Thank you.
And we have been emailing each other on that.
And if you want to send emails to Joe, please do. Thanks.
All right, public comments, last call, we'll move forward here. All right, thank you. Okay, reports of committees. Chairperson report, that's me. I did put on the back table there, one of the jobs I'm currently doing here is looking at all the road right of ways and transit system. Was asking about the road right of ways, and I completed looking at the Town Hall record books, but now I have to go through the individual meeting minutes for the last 60 years because they made this road right of way that was dedicated at that time, at a town board meeting, not anything else, not necessarily the resolution, etc. So I've done that. Second thing, I'm still meeting the Troy Alliance monthly. We were meeting every 2 weeks with the school referendum deal, but now we're back to our normal pattern, and we'll be looking at the issues of common concern between the town of Troy and the village of East Troy. And also later on in the month, they have a meeting with the Heritage and the Library Board to talk about what they're trying to do with the combination of senior living facility with a true Troy library. So that's still coming up. And one last thing, too bad almost everybody, a lot of people left here, but a bunch of people told me they wanted to say, hey, where we go from here after this kind of wild election we had here. So I wrote a statement on that, and it goes as follows. We have just completed a nasty New York style election. It was complete with lies and misinformation, intimidation, and lawbreaking. The attempt was made to remove current board members, so a 68-unit hotel could be approved, a marina could be developed, and possibly junk ordinance violations go away. Anyone with an axe to grind with the town police piled on. They piled on the board, the police chief, the clerk treasurer. Nobody was spared. This board was not intimidated, and a new board seated next week will not be intimidated either. So, all right.
Well, that's not fair. You don't get to have the last word like that. I mean, come on. If you want to fight about it, then there should be a rebuttal. If you're going to have that you should have saved that for public comment yourself as a resident of the town.
It was a pretty arrogant comment.
Come on.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's recorded. You can get it on YouTube on my channel.
None of that is true.
Meetings are never recorded, there's no answers or no information whatsoever. Wow.
I'm opening bids right now for Sabota Road.
Unbelievable.
We have 3 bids,
That's like,
and the whole situation here is we were lucky we had pretty good bids on the first go around, so we were able to add one more road. As you notice, as you drive on the west side of town, Town Line Road actually started this morning, we have no other up. They'll be continuing here. So my first one I opened up here at random was Asphalt Contractors from Union Grove, Wisconsin. And their total bid is $194,825. Second one is Wolf Paving from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. By the way, Greg is in Caribbean someplace. Last year he had 2 of his vacations canceled. Jamaica? Well, that's not Caribbean. All right, Wolf. See why Greg has a problem trying to sort these out. So we add some extra papers in here. All right, $189,067.90. 189,067.90. And the last one is Stark Pavement Corporation, Brookfield, Wisconsin. This one's teak, very good. $178,825 even. So that was the 3. We got the normal 3 we would get, except we didn't get a payment over on this one. So I did 2 track mentally. We got
Start is a little better. Start is a little bit. Yeah, a little bit 189 and asphalt 194.
what I see, the required documents are all here, everything is signed and notarized. And subject to anything that will be discovered math-wise, I think we can do a recommendation here for that word.
I'm not ready to start.
Right there, one of them. Yep.
That's my road to good job.
I've had, I don't know, half a dozen jobs or 2 over the years. Do a lot of work in the area, they do a lot of state work, do a lot of paving work, period. So, there's no problems that I know.
Then I'll move that we set, start payment as the, contractor.
For 178,8.
For 178,825.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. All right. Next is, review and possible action for Town Hall campus security improvements. When we discussed this last month, we had one contractor that was a one size, or did I say one size, one shop deal where they did everything. And there was a request to get more information on this. I'm not quite sure, Chief, if you got all the information that's needed to go forward on this, or is there more information?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I didn't.
On the security improvements, we had last month we had one company that did everything, and now we were trying to find another one. And in fact, what we ended up with is Central One could do it all. Now you're looking at separate companies to kind of bust up the bid somewhat, that bid, the proposal. Have you got enough information to go forward now, or is that
I actually feel the best company is the first company that put in the bid, because they had the best review from persons who they've done work for, and the other company did not have a very good review from the last job site.
And that was the village of East Troy, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess they kind of messed it up for sure. All right, so is there a summary that you have, that what we had from,
The information that I shared with you last month is the information that I would share again this month.
okay, so nothing new?
Nothing new to me.
All right, I'm gonna say that, we're gonna have the five-man board at me look at this one. I know what we have here is not controversial, because first of all, it's, any equipment, you know, that we'd have here would be movable to another building if that ever happened. So it's not as if it'd be, throwaway. But, I would like to look at the data that you have got in the last month to make sure that there's no other way around this, so.
And then I'll check with the original person who bid and see if they'll still honor that price, because their price guarantee is beyond.
Okay, well, make that call. All right, so Kim, put this one in. Interior, exterior security DVR, and that includes, recording what happens in this room, and then putting it on the website so it can be reviewed forever, or however long as you plan to get, I don't even know what that is. Okay, and then I had listed here, update on town hall improvements, and I did put a single spreadsheet on the back table there. Put a pile of them, I want people here, but the only thing that really happened since last month, the well driller didn't show up and get it done as soon as we took the road limits off, so they completed it March 24th, one day, no issues, went to they figured it would be, so actually I think we were final build on that. So next on that would be Paul Sent will be showing up sometime this month with direct water from the wells to the DPW building, and then in the first week of May, O'Leary will show up to install the pump and piping in the well, connect it to the new pressure tank in the DPW building, and then cut it over to this building, and then abandon what we have here, which is the existing well, which is non-code, pull out the pump, and then abandon it with the DNR procedures. So that's really the only thing that happened. The other ones that, and I'll be reporting this also at the meeting next Tuesday. The asbestos is done, the mold is done, the duct cleaning is done, and I think that's it, other than in May, we'll have bids to look at for the bathroom if we decide to do that or not do that.
And hopefully in May, Inman will be able to do that well.
Oh, the basement wall, that's, yeah. Yeah, that's right, actually, when Greg gets back, I'll kind of bug him on that before that price changes. $1,000 to repair a failed wall, but the town has to do the digging for that one. So that's kind of where we're at. A lot of this other stuff is, kind of on hold for the time being. Okay, police report. Chief.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing tonight? And town supervisors. This evening's report will be rather brief. The update on Stringer's Ridge Road, which we've been dealing with now for about 384 days. That's my understanding that Carla is going to be going to our town attorney's office on April the 15th to discuss this further. It has been raining a lot over the last week. They called and we discussed extending, they wanted a 30-day extension, another 30-day extension And I said no, that we would talk about it on the Tuesday,
Monday.
the Monday after they have a meeting with the town attorney. So we'll come up to a determination. And the reason that we're doing that is because after dealing with this for over a year, we're going to start issuing a citation today if they don't get it taken care of. The person who puts this off for that amount of time, something needs to be done. And I'm no longer going to be making appointments with them to inspect their property. It's now going to be her responsibility to call and make the appointment when they're in compliance for me to check the property. That's the update on that particular item. The crosswalks on East Shore Road at Lake Beulah Yacht Club and Dockside, we were asked to bring that up again this month. I know that Town Chairman Clarkowski has been very busy with a lot of things going on. I've been busy, so he and I did not have a chance to take a ride over there and look at it closer together as the two of us. But I still feel that it's important to put a crosswalk over there at each location. A crosswalk can be a standard width of a crosswalk. It doesn't have to be the entire length of the roadway, it's just a standard width crosswalk in front of each of those businesses. As far as signage, we discussed that last year, and I still feel it's important to stick with the same signage that we talked about.
All right,
But that, of course, is a decision up to y'all and the DPW.
but you did talk to the business owners, you said, and they're okay with that?
Yes, I did talk with a representative of